Changing minds one thought at a time.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Empowering Women series. Good evening, Akina. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. I'm so excited about our topic tonight. I just can't wait to get into it.
Me too. I'm excited. Now, before we get started, I actually just want to give a special shout-out. You know, in a moment of total law of attraction today, I was at the gym. I was actually in the sauna, and I met someone named Amasi. We got to talking, and she has a son who's 7, and she's on the call tonight, excited and ready to learn about how we can help our kids to be high achievers. So tonight we have on the call a mother of 4, a teacher just like Akina and myself, a business and life coach. This person has been in the field of education for over 20 years. She has a master's in education, a master's in business. She's a business owner, a founder and owner of Achieve Success Life and Business Coaching. And she just is very, very passionate about loving, motivating, and inspiring children to be the best they can be. She's an author of the book, Raising High-Achieving Children. It's a pleasure and honor to welcome Elizabeth Ogunju on the call tonight. How you doing, Elizabeth?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. You know, obviously, as in empowering women, and it's not only about empowering women, but, you know, we want everyone to be happy and successful and to create the life of their dreams. But, you know, tonight we want to really empower mothers how to help their children. And we know that to be empowered, that most of the time that the values that kids have, the beliefs about themselves, they actually learn at a very, very young age. Typically people think, you know, anywhere from like 3 to 7 is when kids are developing their lifelong, like, beliefs about themselves, all those, like, inner voices we hear in our head. Kids get those voices at a very, very young age. So, Elizabeth, you know, what does it mean to raise high-achieving children, and how can we really help parents with tips and tricks to make sure their children are set up for success?
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful question to ask, and that was my quest. You know, when I have 4 children, I was like, oh, my goodness, these children come, and they did not come with any manual, no instructions. How will I make sure that they actually succeed in life? And that sent me on a quest, searching, reading. Of course, you know, I went to school to study education too, and I found out the secret. And I'll be so happy to share it with your audience today, as I've shared it in my book. And what I found is that every child that every parent has was born or is born for greatness. There is a seed of greatness in your child. You as a parent, the sole purpose you were given that child is to bring that greatness out. So this evening I'm looking forward to share with you some things that I found out on how to bring out the greatness in your child. When we talk of high-achieving children, we're not talking about those kids over there, somewhere out there. We are super geniuses. We're talking about every child that has been given to us by God, the Creator. And that for that child, there is a special purpose. For that child, there is a unique talent. And you and me as parents, whether we are natural parents or adopted, or we adopt these children, either by being role models or whichever means, our role is to bring this greatness out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I am actually a special educator that awesome profession. And I believe that every child that I work with has greatness in them. And when we approach the world from the perspective that there's greatness in every person, for us, and Akeen and I do this podcast about greatness being in every woman, but there's greatness in everyone, whether you're a man or woman, whether you're 90 or whether you're 9 months old, there's greatness inside of you. And parents know that your children are special, they're wonderful. The same way that, we're doing amazing things, you're doing amazing things, Elizabeth. Keen and I have dedicated our life to empowering women. There's people all over the world who've decided to make a difference. That starts really in childhood and how you raise your children and how you support children, not only as a mother, but the children in your church, the children in your community. If you're a teacher, then it's maybe a little more obvious. But all of us, nieces, nephews, cousins, we all have kids in our life, and it is our duty, our honor, and our privilege to really help them see the greatness that's in them.
Yes, we are. It is our honor. It is our duty. And the thing is, it actually is an everyday experience for every mother, for every person who comes in contact with a child. And it is some of the tools that I have used and that also the clients that have come to me, I have proposed to them, they have used and they have found very, very useful and productive is the power of your words. What kind of words do you say to your children? Growing up, I used to have a neighbor who, when she woke up in the morning, she would start cursing her children. She would say so many bad things to this particular boy. So when that boy ended up in trouble, none of the neighbor was surprised because it was like that was what the mother wanted to happen anyway. That was what she was calling on every day. So I say, mother, what do you say to your child? When your child wakes up in the morning, how do you greet that child? Is it, oh, you stupid, you did this wrong, oh, you spilled that water again, oh, well, you are an idiot, you don't even know how to do anything right, and so on and so forth. Is that the way we welcome our children, or we say hello, good morning, or we correct our children? Is it just by nagging, or is it by showing understanding, love, and clear instruction? Children want to be loved. They want to be respected. The power of your words can do a lot to bring a change about in your child, to grow that seed of greatness in that child. You just need to water that seed so that it can sprout and blossom and be beautiful, and everybody would see it. And as I mentioned, and as it was stated in the flyers that went out, see, some children, their greatness will be in academics. They'll get all straight A's. Great. We should continue to encourage them. But some of your children may not go into academics. You have to still find out what that child is made for. There is a very good friend of mine, somebody I admire, my coach, somebody I look forward to is a multimillionaire. And this person shared his story with us. I belong to his team. He shared the story of how he went to school, and throughout his school days, he was failing in everything. He said he failed almost every subject. But, he has a very, very prospective father. One day, his father took him to a group, a team of entrepreneurs, and that was how he started being an entrepreneur. That was how he grew into having a business, he's been a multimillionaire today. So if that father has beaten him and cursed him and thrown him out of the house and said, oh, you are not good, you will amount to nothing in your life because you are getting all F's. No, the father didn't do that. The father noticed something in this boy, something special, and he took him to the right place where he belonged. And from there, he developed and blossomed. And now he's a blessing to so many people.
Wow, that is a powerful story, Elizabeth. You know, a lot of us can relate to that. You know, I was kind of the opposite. I was an academic born into a family of non-academics. So they would tease me about being a lifetime learner. And, you know, that kind of put me down for made me feel like I really I shouldn't study and I shouldn't be who I was. But I had to realize that I had to go find people who embraced the fact that I was academic and that was my area. And once they realized that it wasn't going to change, they got on board. But I definitely understand what you're saying. Our words are so powerful to our children. You know, if you are telling them that what they're doing is negative, all the time they're going to start believing that, and they're going to think what their natural talents are wrong. And we should never do that to them.
No, we should never. We should rather encourage them. We should rather build them up. We should rather let them, when they make mistakes, okay, we correct them. You know, there are five mistakes that parents make. And one of those mistakes is parents think that they should always be friends with their children. See, there is nothing wrong in being friends with your children. You should love your children, be their friends. But there should always be a line when you let them know that you are the parent. So when they do something wrong, you can correct them. You correct them in love, okay, so that they'll be better, not for punishment. Okay, the goal of correction, of discipline should be to make them achieve more, to be better. So we must let them know why we are correcting them. We must let them grow out of the bad behavior we don't like into a good one. So we must be firm. We must encourage them to be what we expect them to be. We must have expectations. See, some of us as parents, we just let these children grow like mushrooms. There is no expectation. We don't expect anything out of them. So they just do whatever they like. But a study was done in Harvard, and it showed that when parents show their children, this is my expectation, this is what I expect from you, that actually encourages those children to perform better, to progress better than the others that the parents had no expectation of. So it's good to let them know because we love them, so we expect something good from them. But when they don't measure up, that's okay too. We should correct them gently and in love, not to punish, but to make them see a better way. We should let them understand why. Many a times we just scold children, especially teenagers, without letting them know why. They should know why. You see, we think children are dumb because they are not advanced in age. They are very smart. All these kids are very, very smart. So we must deal with them, treat them with respect, and let them know that when they are not doing well enough or when they are falling below expectation, we still love them, but they need to pull up the weight and get to where we expect them to be.
That's great advice, Elizabeth. You know, one of the things that's coming to my mind is, like you said, sometimes parents might, think their children are not matching up to their expectations. And one of the things that I hear often from parents is when their child, let's say they want to be a hockey player, they want to pursue football, or maybe they, or their father was a doctor and they want to be a lawyer, or, the children are choosing a different profession than their parents might think good for them. I have a lot of friends living in New York City that are artists, that are musicians, and their parents think it's not a real profession, that there's no way that they could make it in that world. Right, but what if that was what was said to John Lennon? What if all the famous musicians and artists and legends really of today were told that by their parents? So how can parents support their children to really find and live into their purpose while still really caring about, their success and really setting them up for success? I am not a parent, but I can imagine that's a really hard thing for parents to come to terms with and deal with.
It is, especially for immigrant parents. Immigrant parents, when they come to this land, which I am one of them, we want our children to be very, very strong academically, and there is nothing wrong with that, and I encourage it. But we must always give room to that child who's line, who's unique, who has that uniqueness, that special talent, which is a gift from God, which others may not have. So how will they do that? From my studies and my research and from talking to others, I have found out that parents, and this is where parents should be parents, and not just wanting to be friends and being in the child's good book all the time. Parents should know right from this a younger age, what is this child passionate about? What does this child really, really like? Because if you know what your child is passionate about, and you make effort to develop that child in his or her passion, that child will never work in her life, because when she's doing her passion, when he's doing her passion, that is what he or she loves to do. That is not work. She will enjoy it, and money will come later on. That will happen. We must encourage our children to find what they really love to do, and we must do our best to make them the best in whatever they have chosen to do, because we are lucky to be in this country. This is a land of great opportunities, so we can and we should do all our best to provide whatever is necessary to that child to be what he or she is. We must help the child find what the passion is.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know that passion is very important because, like you said, once they find their passion, then it'll never be a job. It'll be, total pleasure doing what they want to do in their lives. And I would love to go back, because you made a wonderful point about the 5 mistakes parents make. And I know you mentioned number 1, which is trying to be children's friend. But what about the other 4? I would love to hear those.
Okay. Yes, and I'll be happy to share them with you. One of the things that I have found out also in my studies is when always nagging. Parents are always nagging, always giving negative report to the child instead of encouraging report. Parents are always wanting to be friends and never firm, because they are always flip-flopping, so we cause confusion to the child. We don't know. The child doesn't really know what exactly where we are, where we stand. That causes confusion. And many times, especially when we have more than one child, we knock their heads against each other by making them to be too competitive. Okay, there can always be friendly competition among siblings, but we should know that children should be able to come home and find cooperation and find love among themselves. We should not make them enemies of each other because they are competing. Some parents fall into this mistake. And the fourth one is many times we just assume the child understands what we are saying. No, she doesn't or he doesn't understand. So we must always give clear instruction. That would be, we must tell the child exactly what we want. We must tell the child how we want it, and we must also explain why we want it. When you follow those 3 steps, the child will be clear in what you want. And if it's not clear, encourage the child to come back to you and ask for more information. And the fifth thing is what parents don't like to hear, or what many people don't like to hear, which is discipline. We must discipline our children. See, we make a great mistake when we think that we'll live when they are young, like 2, 3 years old. Oh, they are too young. We shouldn't start. Now we wait till they are 13 years old. You see, by the time they are 13 years old, it's too late. They don't want to listen to us anymore. They don't want to be with us anymore. They rather be with their friends, with their peers. And so they already form some kind of characters which we may not like. So we should start disciplining them as early as possible. We should let them know what is good and what is not good. We should let them know where we stand. We should let them know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And they will also find out that self-discipline is what will make them achieve whatever goals they have set up for their lives. It is through self-discipline that they can be whatever they want to be in life. So that is also very, very important.
Wonderful. Thank you.
About really self-discipline. That's really powerful, like talking about self-discipline versus just a parent disciplining a child. And we know that when a child learns the skill and the muscle, because it really is a muscle, of self-discipline at a young age, it carries with them all the way through adulthood. And, it really sets them up to win. It's just really powerful. No matter how you look at it, we all are doing things every day, that we have to discipline ourselves. Today I went to the gym and I really just wasn't in the mood to go to the gym. If you look at my Facebook status right now, my personal page, it actually says, I love the power I get when I don't, my feelings get in the way of my purpose. And it's so powerful to teach that to kids at a young age. What are some really steps and tricks that parents can use to really instill that value in their children?
Very easy. Children, even as young as 2 years old, if they do something now and you don't like it, and you let that child know, that child is not likely to repeat it. But if he repeats that action, he knows what your reaction will be. He will look at your face. It wouldn't, because he knows you don't like it. So how do we discipline our children? Let them know. Don't wait till when you get to the grocery store before you start telling them not to scream at you. The first time when you talk to them and he or she screams at you, you tell the child, that is not acceptable. You don't scream at your mother. When I speak, you listen. Also, this thing is from the way we raise them up, and that's why it's very important. The foundation is raise them in love. Raise them with good, encouraging, motivating words every day. They will know, the child will know that you love him or her. And so when you correct, when you discipline, the child will also know that. And when you discipline, you should not just discipline and punish and let it go. No, let the child know why you are disciplining, why you are correcting, why you are giving him the reward. Let him know the reward for when he has done well and the consequences when he has not done well. And this I will give you something easy to remember. E, the 4 E's. The first E is example. Be a good example to your child. Be a good role model. The child will see it and will model you. And will know what mommy does and what mommy doesn't do. And the other E is what I mentioned before, expectation. Let the child know what you expected, what is expected of this child. Okay? And the child knows. See, they are smart. See, we sometimes underestimate our children. They are very smart. They will get it. And the other E is experience. Well, many times we rush to our children. We don't let them experience, after we have told them not to do something and they do it. And we don't let them experience the consequence. Let me give you an example. One of my kids, my daughter, drove and was driving. Something happened to the the car mirror, and it was damaged, and she was so afraid to tell us. Eventually, she came home and she told us, we didn't say anything. It's okay. Well, we thank God. You're okay. It wasn't as bad as that. But you see, she had to go to practice, to extracurricular things in the evenings. She couldn't go. Why? Because there was no car to take her there. So what was the lesson for that? Next time you drive more carefully. And she also learned that if she had grown up enough, she would have had to pay for that mirror that was damaged. Okay, we let you use the car, but you also know that you must use it. Privileges also come with responsibility. So we must let our children know that when they do something wrong, there are consequences. So experience is the best teacher. Okay, don't push them into fire, but where it will not hurt them, let them know. This is why you say they shouldn't do this, because if they do it, it will burn them. Because if they do it, something negative will happen. When they learn well from experience and also empathy. When they do when they are going through challenges, difficulties, bad experiences, we should draw them to ourselves. Okay, we should not be too stern and too much demanding. We should show understanding and empathy, and so they will understand that the discipline we are giving them is for their own good.
Wow, that was wonderful. I know that everyone can definitely use those 4 E's. And I know that you have a few bonuses that you wanted to give to the audience today. As we're coming to a close, I would love to hear about that.
Okay, great. I'll be happy to talk about them. Well, the book I'm talking about, the Raising High Achieving Kids, 7 Ways to Enhance Your Children's Future, has a lot of stories from a lot of experienced parents, very successful parents. They share their experiences raising their children. The mother of a governor shared their experience. Some other highly successful parents and business people share their experiences. So that book is available on Amazon. But for being on this podcast, I will give it to you at 20% discount. If you can call me, you can reach me through my Facebook, Elizabeth Onaganju, or you can go to my website, lizcoaching.com, or coachingforbusinessforlife.com. Anywhere you reach me, if you let me know that you're on this podcast, I will give you 20% discount. And that's the first bonus. The second one, if you, I give you also a free coaching sessions worth $500 if you contact me for coaching sessions for being on this podcast. Also, the third one will be if you buy 2 or more of my parenting book, I'll give you my third book for free, which is a novel, which is on relationship between young people, which parents also can learn from. And the fourth thing is if you have 5 sessions of coaching with me, I'll give you 3 books for free, and of course, plus the $500 value free coaching sessions. And you can always contact me to get more detail about these bonuses. I'm passionate about coaching because I learned from some people, and I want to share this with others. And it is when we help one another that we can grow, and our circle also can grow and develop. And that is my goal.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Is there a takeaway that you would like for the audience to have?
My takeaway today for you is love that child. That child is a special gift from God to you. And how do you love that child? I'll leave with you 3 P's. The first P is be pragmatic, be practical. Okay? Don't be too abstract when you are dealing with your children because they are human beings. They may be little, but they are smart. The second P is priority. Make raising your children your priority. We all want to have a lot of material stuff. But you see, within a short time, they will grow up. They will go to university. They will go to college. They leave home. Then we have no influence on them anymore. So when they are with you, make them your priority. Make them your priority. And the third and the most important thing, if you have not got anything from this podcast, is this. Possibility. Believe that everything is possible. What you desire for your child is possible. What you want your child to be is possible. Say it to the universe. Let God agree with you and believe and make it happen. And I will request your audience to send a tweet to my tweet site, Kosidasi, at Kosidasi. Tell me one thing you believe about your child by speaking it to the universe, and I'm going to retweet it to my audience. So send me your tweet. What do you believe? What are you believing God for your child, or for your significant others, or for your sister or brother? You got to believe in possibilities because we deal with God of possibilities. 3 P's: practical, priority, possibilities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And
You're
now,
welcome.
if something that Elizabeth said today touched you, please find her podcast from tonight on ChangeYourMindsOnline.com. We'll also be on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, and Podomatic. Jessica, do you have anything to add before we close the call tonight?
Elizabeth, thank you. A lot of really valuable information. I hope that this call was really helpful to women, to mothers on the call. And really, like I said, anyone who interacts with kids, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It was really our pleasure.
Okay,
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, on that note,
So
guys,
good
we
night.
always tell you, we love you. God bless. Akina, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good tonight.
All right, guys. Well, have a great evening. Good evening, Elizabeth. Good evening, Akina.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.